Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shed Silva.
And I'm Gayatri Gunratna. As always, let's take a look at tonight's headlines.
President issues orders to increase the fuel subsidy. USA praises the LLRC report at the Human Rights Council session in Geneva. Disciplinary action against UMP parliamentarians Dayasiri Jayasekharan and Ashok Abe Singha. And Sirasa FM celebrates 18th anniversary.
And now for those stories in detail. President Mahinda Rajapaksa has decided to increase the fuel subsidy provided to multi-day fishing vessels and small-scale fishermen by 100 litres. The decision was arrived at following a meeting held with several fishing community representatives from Negombo and Chilau today.
Following a request extended by His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, President Mahinda Rajapaksa met with a group of parish priests from Chilau and Negombo yesterday. The President had instructed officials to set up today's meeting with representatives of the fishing community after heeding the calls made by the parish priests. The representatives had explained to the President the difficulties that they have to face due to the rise in fuel prices. Speaking at the meeting, the President had warned the fuel prices in the world market would increase further and noted that the government will intervene through subsidies. The President added that the fishermen should understand that the government suffers a loss of 4 rupees and 19 cents for each litre of diesel and a loss of 1 rupee and 91 cents for each litre of petrol due to the subsidies being provided.
The United States praised the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission report at the 19th session of the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva, Switzerland today. Speaking at the session, the U.S. Under-Secretary of State for Civilian Security, Democracy and Human Rights, Maria Otero, said that the Sri Lankan government must implement the LLRC recommendations. Notably, Otero did not make any remark regarding a draft resolution on Sri Lanka.
We know from experience that there can be no lasting peace without reconciliation and accountability. But the United States is concerned that in Sri Lanka, time is slipping away. The international community has waited nearly 3 years for action. And while we welcome the release of the LLRC report, the recommendations of the report should be implemented. We have engaged Sri Lanka bilaterally on these issues since the conflict ended in 2009 and stand ready to continue to work with them. Human rights have universal applications. All governments, including mine, must respect the human rights of individuals, protect the ability of individuals to exercise their rights, and create mechanisms for transparent and accountable governance.
The President of the sessions adjourned the UNHRC sessions for a few minutes subsequent to the statement made by the US diplomat. During this period, delegates of several countries requested the right of reply. After the sessions reconvened, a Chinese delegate queried as to under which item the US diplomat had made her statement. Responding to the Chinese delegate, the President of the session said that a top-level diplomat representing a government can express views at the session. The President of the session informed delegates that they would have the opportunity to reply at the end of the sessions. Subsequently, UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Navi Pillay took the podium.
I welcome the publication by the government of Sri Lanka last December of its Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission. While the report falls short of the comprehensive accountability process recommended by the Secretary General's panel of experts, it does make important recommendations. I encourage the government to engage with the special procedures and with my office on follow-up to the report. I also hope the Council will discuss these important reports. States have an obligation to protect their citizens from threats to their security in a manner that respects human rights. My office has assisted states develop and implement security policies, including counter-terrorism measures in accordance with international human rights law. We have seen the lifting of long-standing emergency measures in Sri Lanka, Malaysia and Fiji, although some provisions restricting fundamental rights remained or have been reintroduced.
Well, several protests were held today as well against a draft resolution that is expected to be presented at the UN Human Rights Council sessions in Geneva.
This protest commenced opposite the Devatagaha Mosque in Colombo this afternoon.
We are not afraid of any force. So United Nations is for unity of the nations. United Nations is not only for America. United Nations is for the entire world. So we have told them not to interfere in our affairs.
The demonstrators who gathered opposite the mosque proceeded towards the UN compound in Thumulla Junction in a protest march. Incidentally, security around the UN compound had been beefed up. The demonstrators handed over a letter to an officer at the compound containing public objections to a draft resolution against Sri Lanka being presented at the UN Human Rights Council.
Sri Lanka is a country where the entire world told.
Saddam Hussein in Iraq was killed. Gaddafi was also killed after dragging him on the streets. Hosni Mubarak was also removed. The US is trying to destroy the entire Middle East. Why is this? It is for oil. The minute they heard about oil in Sri Lanka, Obama wanted to land here as well. As citizens, we are saying do not interfere with the country's internal issue. We can solve our issues. We appointed a commission to resolve the issues faced by the Tamil community. Meanwhile, yet another demonstration was organized opposite the Maradana Juma Mosque after Friday prayers.
In the meantime, factory and hotel owners say that they are facing a serious crisis as their overhead costs have increased exponentially following the increase in electricity charges. They say that the sudden 15% increase on their electricity bills is a burden that they cannot bear.
The unit price of electricity in the factory and hotel sector is 10 rupees and 45 cents. In addition, there is a fixed charge of 8,000 rupees and a demand charge of 850 rupees on the monthly bill. Meanwhile, as of the 16th of February, a fuel adjustment charge of 15% was added to the bills of factory and hotel owners. A situation where we cannot continue to operate has arisen because of the costs. Only one machine is in operation because we cannot go on with this electricity bill. This crusher is just covered up. A business is carried out to make profits. The increase in electricity charges has taken away the profits. So why should we engage in business? What will happen now is business people will question why they engage in business at all. How has this affected the tourism sector, which is one of the fastest growing industries in the country?
When you get a 15% increase on an electricity bill, we are really helpless. In return, definitely we have to increase our rates. Then what happens when moment we increase our rates, number of arrivals is definitely going to drop.
As the regulator of the electricity sector, how justifiable is the Public Utilities Commission's decision to amend electricity charges? More on this tomorrow.
Well, a media briefing was convened today by the People's Movement to free Sarath Fonseca. This campaign has been established with the aim of securing the release of the former army commander.
Wife of the former army commander, Anuma Fonseca, has been appointed as the chairperson of this campaign. Venerable Dambara Amilathera and DNA parliamentarian Arjuna Ranatunga serve as co-conveners of the movement. We commenced this organization with the aim of not allowing any other individual to become a political prisoner in the future. We have established this by getting together all important personalities and not only those who love him. You will be able to see various struggles of the movement in the future. We will execute it strategically at the right time. As the national movement, we will take action considering all requests that come from within the country and overseas.
You're watching your Primetime News Bulletin. Up next is Action TV.
Officials focused a great deal of attention on the road network in the Anuradhapura area in the run-up to the Daya to Kirula exhibition. Construction activities which commenced prior to the exhibition accelerated as the exhibition drew closer. However, construction of the road connecting Unagaswawa and Kirikkulama was overlooked for some reason. The reconstruction of this road commenced on the 8th of March last year, and the Ministry of Economic Development had allocated a sum of over 25 million rupees to carpet a 2-kilometer stretch of road. The private contractor who had accepted the contract had stopped work on the road around 2 months ago, stating that the allocated funds were insufficient. In this backdrop, the contractor had attempted to transport a stock of ABC mixture, which was to be used on this road, to another construction site. This attempt was thwarted when the area residents protested against the move. When Action TV inquired into the matter, the chief engineer of the North Central Province Road Development Authority stated that he is not aware of such a road. However, this is the manner in which the Secretary to the Ministry of Economic Development advised officials to look into development activities in their areas. If there is a development activity in your area which has been identified, go ahead with it. Money is not an issue. What we require is quality. What we want is a program which can change the economies of the public. Even the people in our villages need something that they can be proud of. Therefore, please construct the roads in a proper manner. The people in this part of Anuradhapura are facing great difficulties because the relevant officials have not fulfilled their duties and even ignored the instructions of the Secretary to the Ministry of Economic Development. Shouldn't attention be focused on bogus reconstruction work aimed at hoodwinking the public? Secretary to the Ministry of Economic Development, this is over to you.